We are joined by two-time Wisconsin state champion, Brock Bergelin, who's here to make a very special announcement. Mr. Bergelin, thank you for being here. Well, let's start it with, what are the four schools?
So it ended up coming down to Wisconsin, Wyoming, Northern Illinois, and Central Michigan.
First unofficial visit was last year with Wisconsin. That's the team you grew up watching the Badgers, loving the Badgers. So how cool of an experience was that for you?
It was pretty cool. So actually, I took two visits my junior year because I went down there, and then they had a junior day in general. So I took my own unofficial, and then I went for their junior day. And I guess it was just really cool. They've grown up coaching me and stuff on Team Wisconsin during the summertime, and then I've went to Wisconsin Regional Training Center. So I don't know, they've been coaching me for a while now. So it's kind of cool just to go down there and see what they all had to offer.
What's your relationship been like with the Wisconsin coaches?
They coach freestyle for Team Wisconsin. So when I'm working in the summertime, they actually, when they have a chance besides their own practices, they actually come down and coach that. And then they run the Wisconsin Regional Training Center, and I go down there once a week on the off season to train for that too.
Your first official visit was back in September when you flew out to Wyoming. How was that experience? How cool was that? And how was your first official visit?
So I didn't talk to Wyoming much at all early on, but then I think right after Fargo, I took out, I believe he was ranked 7th in the country. I took him out, and I placed at Fargo. And to put it in short, Fargo's the grand finale freestyle national tournament, and I placed 8th out of, I think it was around 70 kids, and I took out some really solid wrestlers there. So right after about that, Wyoming messaged me, and they congratulated me on that and stuff, and then we kind of headed off from there, and then they told me that they wanted me to come down for an official, and I went down there for a weekend, and it was a pretty good time. Watched the football game, and yeah.
Central Michigan University really pounced on you early in your junior year. So you took a tour out there unofficially back last year, and then you took an official this year. So what was the Central Michigan experience like?
Yes, so they started talking to me my junior year, and then they told me to come down literally maybe 2 days before a wrestling dual meet against Eastern Michigan, and I just kind of wasn't really expecting to go down there or anything. I told my mom about it, and she's like, let's go. And I was like, are you serious? I didn't really expect that response out of her. And she's like, sure. So then only in a few days of advance, we decided to go down there, and then I watched the dual meet, and then they showed us around, and then the next morning we left back home.
And finally, last but not least, Northern Illinois University was kind of a late bloomer for you. They didn't come at you until late September. You went out there the same weekend you did your Central Michigan tour back in September. What was the experience down in Illinois like?
So, my visit to, I guess Northern Illinois was definitely a late bloomer for me. I'd emailed them a few times, but it was never really anything serious. And then they kept contacting me a ton, and then I was like, all right, well, yeah, I should definitely go visit there. And the coaching staff ended up being really nice and really cool. And then I got to stay in the dorms. They had a really cool freshman dorm setup that I really liked. And then the team was really nice, and I got to watch a workout, view all their facilities and what they had to offer, and it was a pretty good time.
Now, Brock, the moment we've all been waiting for. You're a two-time state wrestling champion, and you'll be wrestling for one school in the future. Who's it going to be?
I will be continuing my academic and athletic career at Central Michigan.
And what really stood out to you that made you decide to be a Chippewa?
Well, I think it was just everything in general. All the schools had a ton of stuff to offer. When you're talking D1, they all have so much to offer. And the more that I realized it and tried to be analytical with my decision, the more I realized that, hey, all of these schools have so much to offer. Just go where your heart's at. So I guess at Central Michigan, my heart would that's really where my heart was. I really like the coaching staff. I like what they're doing. They're a team that's not consistently getting the best recruitment classes, but then there's 18th in the country. That's kind of something that they pointed out to me was, hey, we're taking not the best recruits, and we're making ourselves into a powerhouse team. And then on top of that, they showed me statistic after statistic, the fact that they produce the most college coaches, which means that their technique's on point and just how good they're performing. And then they have a ton of super good, super cool careers that I'd be interested and going into like pre-physician's assistant, pre-physical therapy, and then obviously becoming a physician's assistant or physical therapist, and then kinesiology, nutrition. So they have like all these degrees that I'd be interested in going into. And then the campus in general is just really nice. It's like, obviously coming from Denmark, it's like a town of 2,000, so going into a huge city won't be the most ideal thing, especially when you're a kid like me and you can barely tell your way around Green Bay. That's a story for a different time, but it just being able to like go into like a decent sized town that has everything but isn't super huge that I'm gonna get lost in like going into is just super nice, and it just really felt like home. Last thing that I'd like to say is I'd just like to thank everyone that's always been there for me, and fire up Chips.